Welcome to the Piedmont Triad Apartment Association's Not a Complex podcast, where we explore the latest trends in the apartment industry, keep you up to speed on what's happening locally, interview industry experts, and bring you information to help you do your job better. So sit back, relax, and learn a little something, and hopefully be entertained in the process. You can find out more about PTAA at our website, piedmonttaa.org, on Facebook at Piedmont TAA, and on Twitter and Instagram at Piedmont TAA.
All right, welcome to the second episode of Not a Complex Podcast. This is John Louder, and in this episode, you'll be hearing from one of my coworkers, Carrie Langley, who's PTA's Director of Education and Membership. She's going to tell us a little bit about upcoming education programs this fall. She's also going to detail some of the changes in NAA's designation programs and even talk a little bit about what she likes to do when she's not on the job. So, without further ado, here's Carrie Langley. We're going to talk education and membership today, so say hello to everybody, Carrie.
Hello.
And we'll start with, why don't we start with what's coming up for the fall for PTAA, so in terms of education.
This fall we have CAM starting on September 1st, and something really exciting about CAM this year is that they have updated it. It's a little bit shorter. However, it's more relevant to what our managers are facing every day on site.
All right. So for anybody who might be listening who's not familiar with CAM, what is CAM?
CAM is, it used to be known as a designation. It is now called a credential that you can hold for certified apartment managers. And you take these series of modules about legal, fair housing, maintenance for managers, resident retention, all the different financials, which is a big one, and all these different aspects of being a manager, and you take this beautiful test at the end of it, which actually gives you the certification.
Okay, so the certification is then of great value to those who hold it because it indicates they've gone through this 8-week course and passed a test. And so if for those who are maybe new to the industry, or maybe they're in a leasing position now and looking to move up, or maybe they've been an assistant manager, it's just great for their resume.
It not only is it great for your resume, it just gives you this well-rounded training that you honestly cannot get anywhere else or in such a short span of time.
Okay. And then for the employer, obviously, that's the real benefit is that their people are going to come out of it with a great deal of background and information relevant to their job at that time. Having sat through a few of these, I'm sure you've seen the what goes on between students as well. They compare notes, they learn from each other, they learn from world-class instructors.
Yes, and the thing that we're so lucky here in the Piedmont Triad because we have so many qualified instructors here within our membership who have gone through mega training themselves, who are also CAM certified. I went through the CAM classes in 2011. And there are times, even in the position that I hold today, that I'll refer back to my CAM training and my CAM notebook to help answer questions that our members will still call me about.
Sure. And I think you were telling me before we started that there have been some changes to CAM this year.
Changes to CAM this year. Last year, there was one particular module that they had, research, analysis, and evaluation, that just seemed very vague. It was just a little out of touch with what managers deal with on a daily basis on site. So they nixed that module and added in other things that were more relevant with what they deal with every day.
Okay. So people sign up, they register. They can do that on our website.
Call
obviously.
me, email me. I'll get you registered. The class is $855, and that includes your first series of your first test. If you had to retest for any reason, it is much like SATs. There's no limit to how many times you can take it if you end up needing to take it again.
Right.
We are very proud of our members in the past who have taken CAM, most of which only take it one time.
Right.
But we are here, and if available if you needed to retake for any reason.
Okay. So, and they can take the test here, or they can take it at Castle Worldwide, which is a testing center over in Winston-Salem.
You got it, yes.
Okay. Now, that's one that we're not calling them designations anymore, right?
I know. I have a hard time remembering this. Credential.
All right, so that's one credential course. We have another that happens in the fall, and that is?
CAMT. So that's Certified Apartment Maintenance Technician.
Okay.
They have, and NAA has made some changes this year to that course as well. Most of the content has stayed the same. They have improved some of the soft skills, such as people skills that technicians have with their customers every day. So it's not that you're just learning about plumbing or electrical. It's also how to relate to your customer every day as well.
Which is important given the amount of face time that our technicians have with residents, probably more than anybody else.
More than anyone else.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what are the dates on these?
Okay. CAM begins September 1st, and CAMT for maintenance technicians begins October 4th.
Okay. And CAMT also runs 8 weeks?
CAMT actually runs they both actually run in a month's time now. So that's one improvement that's been made. Instead of dragging it out as long as it's been in the past, managers and maintenance technicians are out of the office less time, but still get the same quality of instruction that they got before.
Okay. Any other big education things coming up this fall?
Oh, yeah. We have a new class that Brandon Negrone with Landmark is going to be teaching called Show Me the Money, Apartment Financials. He's probably one of the biggest financial gurus in the business in our area that I know of anyway, and that's on September 13th. And we have another brand new class that's co-written by myself and James Craig with Got You Floored called Maintenance for Managers and Leasing Teams. And the little tagline to that, it's called, we love it because it's called Beyond the Sparkle Bucket. And for any of you out there who have any clue what a sparkle bucket is, you're probably a leasing professional. But beyond the sparkle bucket is beyond just puffing or re-cleaning an apartment. So we thank Amy Reynolds in our office for that little tagline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm imagining for that course the motivation there, or one of the outcomes that you're looking for is for the managers and leasing professionals, office folks, to better understand what their maintenance technicians and supervisors are going through.
Yes, and all through my career being on site, one of the greatest challenges has been the office team and the maintenance team communication. There's always going to be a gap, but we're hoping that this class will help bridge that gap and make it shorter and help them communicate better with one another. Because if those teams are communicating better, then it makes your maintenance team more efficient, and it makes the residents happier and more confident in the management teams that they're dealing with. So that's the goal for this class, is just to improve communication between those teams.
Okay. Before I segue, you gave me a great segue to the next part of our little interview here. But before I segue, are there any other events you want to talk about?
Well, the big thing that we've been hearing about this year, well, one of the biggest, has been the emotional support animals, and that's just around the country seems to be this big issue that we're dealing with that we've not had to deal with before.
Right.
And we have Chris Loebsack instructing our seminar that we're having before our trade show in October.
Okay.
So it's about emotional support animals. So he'll be there to answer the most frequently asked questions that you would have about those. And I'm sure that he'll open up a Q&A session when that's done.
Oh, he always does. He does a great job. And
yes,
did we already talk about the legal seminar that's in September?
No, we have not.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you just reminded me because we talked about Chris's thing, and so Will Brownlee's going to be doing the legal seminar again.
Will Brownlee's coming back September 21st, and this has always been, and I imagine will continue to be, a sellout seminar. So we can have a maximum of 60 people attend the seminar. So we're already we haven't even begun advertising this heavily, and we've already reached like 25 attendees.
Wow. And our max in this room is 60.
Max in the room is 60.
Okay. So for anybody that's interested in any of these things, they're already on our website. Go to www.Piedmont, TAA, that's Tom or Triad, AA.org. Okay, so my segue was going to be, you mentioned that in your time on site before you came to PTA. So
it was scary.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been at PTA for about 3 years now, and actually 3.5, I guess.
No,
2.5.
It'll be 3 in October.
Okay, so almost 3 years. Before joining us here in Nirvana Land, what were you doing?
I was a manager on site for student housing with Berkeley Communities here in Greensboro.
Okay.
So I managed 5 different student properties, mainly small, but it doesn't matter if it's a small property or a big property. A budget is a budget, and the amount of work that goes into a budget does not decrease with the size of the property.
That's right. Well, and before Berkeley took on all those student properties, you guys had Westboro, and you were over at Westboro too, which is one of our larger properties in the Triad.
Yes, it was. That was.
Which did you find? Awesome. Which did you find more challenging?
Oh goodness, I don't know that one is more challenging than the other. It was a completely different challenging. One was conventional, the other student property. So they just have a totally different set of challenges. Yeah. With the conventional property, this was an interesting experience in that when we began managing it, it was a management change, a complete change of the property. So physical change out the wazoo. So just.
Well, you guys did enough there that you ended up winning an award from NAA for the property.
I would say in my entire career in property management, which is now about 16 years, that has been my most proud achievement.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the Paragon Award, which was great. Great being acknowledged for what we did, but just the camaraderie in the team that went through that transition that took about 2 years or so.
Right.
That's been the most rewarding work I've done.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about Carrie the person. What do you do in your free time for fun? What do you think is most enjoyable besides dancing to 90s tunes? Or
I will always appreciate 90s music more than any other kind. For fun, I have a 4-year-old son who keeps me busy, and I love spending time in the pool with him. Can't say I've learned to love trains and cars really, but I pretend.
Right. Yeah.
But I love movies, going out with friends when I can, cooking out at the house.
There you go.
Sleep.
Yeah. Well,
that's what I do for fun.
I was going to say having a 4-year-old will do that to you. Well, great. I think that pretty much covers it, unless I've missed anything or there's something else you think we should enlighten our people about.
All I want to say is that I look forward to seeing our members this fall again. It gets a little lonely here in the summertime when you guys are on site busy leasing your properties, and we can't wait to see you again in the fall for some good old-fashioned education.
I totally agree. Thanks for listening to Not a Complex Podcast. In future episodes, we'll be interviewing industry leaders and talking about what's happening in the apartment industry in general, both in the Triad and nationwide. So until next time, this is John Lauder, and I look forward to speaking to you then.
Not a Complex Podcast is a copyrighted production of the Piedmont Triad Apartment Association and cannot be reproduced without express written permission. Any views expressed by our guests and contributors are theirs alone and not the official position of the association or any